Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ben Huang. Today we're going to look at a talk by an author, organizational psychologist, and professor at the University of Pennsylvania, ADAMGRANT, called What Frogs in Hot Water Can Teach Us About Thinking Again. Let's get started. The phrase, frogs in hot water, Grant states in the beginning of the talk, is to describe the frog's inability to jump out of the pot, which is filled with water that is slowly turning hot, unlike jumping out immediately when the water is already boiling. In addition, the phrase refers to our failure in rethinking the situation and knowing when to quit. Nonetheless, unquestionably, humans are of course smarter than frogs, but despite that, a large number of us are too reluctant to rethink our decision in areas such as our identity, goals, and habits. That is, the psychology professor argues, oftentimes we ignore our mistakes and think if we work harder, the matter can be fixed. Not to mention that we live in a culture that praises grit and persistency, which may easily lead us to fail to reevaluate our choices, thus stop driving ourselves heading towards the wrong path. Consequently, we could result in what Grant calls escalation of commitment to a losing course of action, one of the most likely causes of bankruptcy, all due to the owner's refusal to seek for alternatives. More than that, this phenomenon can not only be applied to companies and their business plans, but our attitude towards our job, relationships, and ultimately ourselves as well. Moreover, on top of the characteristics grit and persistency that are being glorified in society, on numerous occasions, individuals are found to be confused over the notion of heroic persistence and stubborn stupidity. Specifically, that is, the author of the book Think Again suggests, never give up is by no means telling us to keep on working on something that doesn't function, whereas it is to stay open-minded and not stick ourselves to solely one option. By now, it might seem that we only need to rethink when things don't work. Nevertheless, Grant says, even good habits and routines may prevent us from rethinking. This should be demonstrated through the term cognitive entrenchment, in which one feels offended when facing criticism or failure and refuses to adjust their behavior. Notwithstanding, the psychologist asserts that, though we might feel annoyed and are not able to choose which emotions we experience, we do have the decision over how we choose to respond to different opinions. Also, it is by rethinking and revising our habits and feelings that we can gain perspective and improve. To address this issue, such like going on a health checkup, Grant suggests that we can do the same for our jobs, relationships, and values, so as to ensure that we are heading towards the right direction. Furthermore, rethinking doesn't mean that we have to change, but at the same time, we're open towards suggestions and reconsiderations and know when to hold on or let go. In a practical sense, the Pennsylvania University professor states, we should view rethinking not only as a personal skill, but a value that is embraced universally through openness in educational institutions and government organizations. Hence, by doing so, we can then achieve the concept of confident humility, in which we are being secure enough in our strengths to acknowledge our weaknesses. Lastly, Grant maintains that the phrase, the frog in the slowly boiling pot, is a myth, because the frog actually jumps out of the pot when the temperature gets too hot. Instead, it is us that have to learn to rethink and know when to jump out. Here in my opinion section, I would like to illustrate the problems we have when it comes to rethinking, which Grant doesn't discuss in his talk, as well as the mental approach that we can take on how to solve them, as I believe what the psychologist has mentioned in his talk is remarkably important, and it may even be, perhaps, one of the most defining factors of our success or failure. First and foremost, I'd argue that one of the most common issues when it comes to rethinking is our attitude when we face criticism or encounter different opinions. That is to say, a number of us may feel irritated or aggravated as we feel that others are criticizing us for our habitual ways of doing things, or are rejecting our values and the principles we uphold. Thus, when facing scrutiny, a lot of us may come across as defensive or negative. Nevertheless, this could all be resolved when you make a change in our mindset. In other words, we should view the recommendations from others as chances to learn and improve ourselves, not feeling that our values are being undermined or rejected. Additionally, regardless of what others say, we are the ones in control of our decisions and changes we make to ourselves. We are who we are at the end of the day, and there's nothing about our inner self that will be changed until we decide to take action. Following that, in respect to what I've just mentioned, one reason why we have such a defensive attitude when it comes to changing our actions or behaviors is because we are afraid to step out our comfort zone. Therefore, closing ourselves to explore different ideas and options. Here, I would like to use my own example, and quite a good one, I think, is me and my YouTube channel. Yes, exactly. The idea of starting a YouTube channel never really came across my mind until a year ago when my tutor and I began to joke about it, which actually led me to consider it, plan it, and start it. I was reluctant at first to post my first video, as I thought, what? No, I'm not the kind of person that does YouTube and all those kinds of funny stuff on YouTube, and Plus, I was too unbothered by the idea of spending a tremendous amount of time in front of my desk writing transcripts and editing my videos. Not to mention the process of getting used to speaking in front of the camera and learning how to edit my videos on my laptop. So it was definitely quite a lot that I had to go through. But it is only after I started my YouTube channel a couple months later that I found expressing my ideas and opinions as something that I actually love to do, and believe that the opinions I have the ability to change people for the better. Be that as it may, based on my experience, what is it that we will lose even what we try doesn't work? And even failed attempts, what we may see as a waste of time, is an opportunity to learn about ourselves, expand our vision, and, perhaps even better, find something that we truly like or enjoy. Finally, I would like to end my opinion section by saying, regardless of the opinions that others have or what they think about us, it is us who are in control of our actions and follow the advice that that are being recommended to us. Nonetheless, I am of the opinion that it is merely by exploring alternatives, namely through rethinking our actions, routines, and philosophy, that we can open ourselves to new opportunities, and who knows, maybe even the new option we choose would generate the most pleasure and happiness for us, and we will be grateful for it afterwards. Since there are really only two options, do nothing or do something, then the least that we can do for ourselves is to experiment with something different, and then decide whether to continue, or if it is indeed a failed attempt, return to our comfort zone. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to comment below, turn notifications, and subscribe to my channel. By the way, here I also want to thank you guys so much for supporting me to help me reach more than 1,000 views. Yay! I wouldn't have made it without the help of you guys. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.